How do we start? Welcome to Saints on Cinema.
Welcome to Saints on Cinema. I'm Tim Wilde, and I go, I'm Josh Edlow.
You did just like that. Welcome to Saints on Cinema. I am Tim Wilde.
And I'm Josh Edlow.
Wow. All right. We're getting started tonight. This is our chapter 3. Today is...
Oh, wait, that was real?
First. Yeah, we're just rolling with it. We're going.
Oh, all right.
So we have a few things we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to go through these pretty quickly, I think. But the first thing we're going to talk about is personal study. I'll go first. Well, you didn't do a lot, too. You were out of town. But this week, I watched a few things kind of secondhand. I was in my car a lot, and I thought to myself, I can listen to HBO, watch HBO on my phone. And I know this isn't a new concept, but I don't have like Netflix and stuff on my phone. It's always YouTube. I put in HBO and I watched Anastasia as I was doing some driving last week. Not while I'm driving, some glances here and there, but I forgot about how awesome that animation is and how crappy that animation is. But for the time, they really worked hard on the cinematography and everything of that, the style that they animated, how they had backgrounds. There was like 360, like almost like crazy camera angles and stuff that they did with the environment around the characters, the way the characters are interacted with the background, with props and stuff like that. The animation for that was awesome. It's kind of weird when you watch it now, because now that we have like Pixar and things like that, it just like exploded with capabilities in movies. But I forgot how good that movie is. How good the performances are, how good the music is, how good the story is, that it's like an emotional thing. That's a romantic movie I would watch. But I don't know. I haven't watched it in a really, really long time. And that's up there on my list of top 7 non-Disney movies. That's not a list we're doing right now. But I don't know. Did you like Anastasia, or did you even care about it because you were too cool for that back when it came out?
Just didn't care about it. I don't think I
Figures. It didn't have Arnold Schwarzenegger or Stallone or Mr. T, so why would you care?
Or anybody good in it. Yeah. That's
Meg Ryan.
Yeah,
she's all right. Anyway, but that's not what that movie's about. And it has freaking Angela Lansbury and what's her name? Bernadette Peters were some of my favorite Broadway people. Anyway, I also watched the greatest season of Dexter. Now, you watched Breaking Bad. Did you ever watch Dexter?
I never watched Dexter.
Do you know much about Dexter?
I've heard it's really good, but I don't know anything about it.
You don't know anything about it? I don't know if I can recommend it, but I mean, if you watched Breaking Bad, you watched a lot of violence and vulgarity and stuff, but there's a lot of sex and things in Dexter. But there's a season, the concept, right?
Yeah.
Interestingly, especially for me, Dexter's a show. It's one of the very few shows, maybe 3 or 4 shows, if any, or if I can make a list that big, of how many shows I go through the whole thing at least once a year. The Office is in there, Dexter is in there, and I'd have to think about the other couple, but I love Dexter, the character. I love the show, and it's really cool how they did it. I don't think a lot of people go back and revisit Dexter as much as I do, especially not members of the church, if anyone watched it. But I just love the character. But the thing is, with the season I just watched the season with John Lithgow as the villain. The first time I watched this, it was right around the time I was getting divorced, and I was living in my brother's apartment, and he wasn't home very often. I was watching all my shows late at night and in the middle of the night. And I'd never seen the show before, but the season with John Lithgow playing the villain it's psychotic, it's chilling, it's like watching like a horror movie, only it was like episode after episode after episode of like you didn't know what was going to happen next, and you didn't understand the state of mind. But John Lithgow always played a fantastic villain. Especially one of my favorites is cheesy, but it's Cliffhanger. Which, as I say that, I'd have to give props to Mike for what I said about Stallone last week of him not being a great action star. He was a great action star in Cliffhanger. I'll give him that one. So, you're like, great. That's a great movie. Anyway, John Lithgow is just a scary dude. And then he turns around and plays, what is that show where he's the aliens, the Third Rock from the Sun? He is an amazing actor. I don't think he's not in as many big, blockbuster movies, but he's just fantastic. I love John Lithgow. But the Dexter season with him, if I was to say, hey, you should sit down and watch a season of Dexter, I would say you got to watch that season. But it wasn't really doing as much for you because you don't have a lot of build-up with some of the characters, with some of the things that happen. So it's not the same. Anyway, I've been watching Seinfeld, and I've been watching more Roseanne. Nothing really exciting there. I always go back and watch Seinfeld. That's my background, cleaning the house music. But then I went over to Lance's.
What season? Hold on real quick. What season are you on in Roseanne?
2. I've been going slower. Yeah. Because that one I'm trying to watch. Most of the shows I watch, that's why I get so backed up on movies I need to see that I've never seen before, is I can't have them as background noise. I need to sit and watch them. And I have a lot less time to do that than I do just doing other things. But anyway, Seinfeld, Roseanne, I'm on season 2. Jackie just joined the police force. And it's awesome. Like we were talking about last time. They talk about such real things. And I just watched the episode where Darlene and Becky went to a party or something, and they're acting like real sisters, and then Darlene came home early and Becky was like making out with some guy the whole time, and they don't show anything, they don't show the party, but just their conversation is so real about how to kiss, you use your tongue and all that stuff. And then Roseanne comes in and joins the conversation. It's just total like girl talk, only it's not like fluffy like you were saying, like having the Full House music come on while they have their little message of the day.
Yeah, very raw and
hilarious.
Yeah.
And then there was the episode where Roseanne lost her, or she quit her job at the end of season 1, and which was kind of cool. But then she thought she got a job a few episodes into season 2, and then they were having a congratulations party for her, but it turned out she didn't get the job, and then she and Dan just blew up in this big fight in the dining room. And and they weren't like fighting like against each other. They were just yelling and emotional and everything. And that's what I was talking about. That's what I remember about the drama, about real life. You felt like as a kid watching this show, it was like these are real parents really yelling at each other. And it was kind of not scary, but it's like, this isn't entertainment. This is drama. This is like reminding me of what happens when I get in trouble with my mother, That's what was great about this show, is like that texture is so real,
It's so good, and you're right. Like, this is one of the ones where it takes you through the entire whirlwind of emotion. And there's stuff that happens later on. You're only in season 2, and I think there were like 9 seasons or something.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it gets even more raw as you go on. I can remember specifically some of the season finales of those.
Mm-hmm.
Like, holy cow, when things happen. And then another thing that I'm assuming they haven't introduced Mark yet. Have they introduced Mark?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm on the episode where they're just introducing Tom Arnold.
Oh, yeah.
And he just kissed Roseanne. I was watching that when you were getting ready. Yeah,
Artie's great.
Yeah. And the other episode that was good was, I got emotional, but when Jackie went to the police academy and Roseanne was sitting there saying goodbye to her, and she didn't want to face her sister leaving, and the tornado coming through town and everything, how scared they were. It was really good. The episode where Jackie is like depressed at her apartment, Darlene's over there, and she got drunk. Not Darlene. Jackie got drunk, like passed out. Darlene like stayed behind, and it was like real life stuff. Nothing, and that's like, as a kid, I wasn't anything I could relate to, but I was like, wow, I didn't watch that when I was a kid. I like, when I get to like season 3, I think that's where I watched it for a little while as a kid, but. Just this show it's brilliant. It was ahead of its time, and I think everyone else gave it credit back then. Obviously, that's how it went so long. But I don't know. I'm glad I discovered it. It's pretty cool. But anyway, Lance and I watched this last one. Lance and I got together the other night. We wanted to watch a horror movie or a scary movie. He actually wanted to watch Final Fantasy, the animated, the Advent Children or whatever. But I told him no. It's October. We should watch scary movie. And so we watched Overlord. Now, it came out last year. It's you wouldn't have seen it, but did you hear about that movie, Overlord?
No.
It was by J.J. Abrams. It's a bad robot movie. And it's about Nazis who are holding up a camp by the small town where they are doing their chemical testing and stuff. And they're making zombies, different variations and different types of effects that they're having on the humans, but they're essentially zombies, even though they call them zombies. They're not like Walking Dead regular zombies. But it was great. The colors, the cinematography, the action, it was really, really gory, really good effects, really good design, or the monster designs that they did. Really, it was just violent and just gory, and a lot of twists, a lot of shock moments. His wife came down to join us like halfway through. The first half of the movie is a lot of just plot and character stuff. So not a lot of action happens. It was kind of boring, but then she came down right when it went crazy with all the violence, and she couldn't watch the screen. She was too squeamish, and then finally she had to get up and leave. Like, we're like, oh, it's crazy though. I don't know. I recommend this movie if people watch radar movies in our audience. If they hadn't seen it, because it wasn't, I remember when it came out, I remember watching reviews of people, I valued their opinions, critics in LA, and it got a lot of praise critically, but it just didn't do very well. It wasn't a big, huge movie. It had a lot of big competition at the time too, but I recommend this movie to anyone. It's freaking awesome. And especially as a lover of good, tasty gore and violence. It's good. It's great and graphic and cringeworthy. Very cringeworthy. It's very good. But you should check it out. You won't, but yeah. It's not as or critical that you watch that as like the new Rambo movie. But it's a really good movie. But that's what I did last week. But I want to hear, before you get into anything you watched, I want to hear about Hamilton.
Yeah, so this last week I saw Hamilton, and it was amazing. If you are a lover of plays, it's definitely one of the best ones I've ever seen.
I want to put this out there that you don't like musicals notoriously.
That's not true.
That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. Whenever we talk about movies, and we're going to in a few minutes, you always like shut down if I mention a musical.
That's not true.
Absolutely true.
I like Moulin Rouge. I like all the Disney musicals.
You did not. We had a big argument about how Moulin Rouge was just as awesome as Greatest Showman, and you were like just destroying me.
Time out. No.
Yeah.
I like Moulin Rouge.
That movie is not a movie.
I just don't like it as much as I like The Greatest Showman.
Wow.
So, anyway, as far as plays go, I've seen many of plays in my life, and I've liked most of them. Very few of them have I come away saying I didn't like it. And I also don't usually like musicals that have all music, if that makes sense. Like
opera.
I like musicals that have some, discussion, and then there's musical numbers in them.
Right.
But Phantom of the Opera or like Les Mis, sometimes it's hard for me to follow them just because it's all music, right? I mean, I like them. I've seen them, and I've seen Phantom of the Opera twice, and I don't know. I don't think it's as good as everybody makes it sound. I think I had too high expectations. But
did you see the movie?
Yeah, I've seen the movie.
Did you love the movie, or just it was okay?
The Phantom of the Opera movie?
Uh-huh.
I mean, it was fine. But I mean, I wasn't
a lot of people didn't love it. I loved it. That was my first experience with Phantom of the Opera, but go ahead.
So I've seen it twice on stage, and then I saw the movie. And on stage, I thought it was better. But this one it's very rare that I feel so much emotion in a live performance necessarily. And maybe some of it's because of what's just going on in my life. I don't know. There was a lot of stuff, and I don't know Alexander Hamilton as well as I know some of the other forefathers, right? Like I've read books on George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, John Adams. I never really read Alexander Hamilton's book or anything like that, so I didn't know a ton about him, and I didn't really know a ton about the play. Like I knew the basic premise that it would be like a rap musical, hip hop musical, and that all of the forefathers and the main cast is all African American. I knew that, but I didn't know what, like, I hadn't listened to the songs. Like some of my friends who'd seen it when they heard I was going to go see it said you should probably listen to the songs beforehand so you understand what's going on, because you might have a hard time following it and things like that. And I really didn't feel like I didn't do that. And when I went in, I felt like I followed it for the most part pretty well, with the exception of there was one actor who he played a French character. I can't remember the name of the character, but he played a French character, and he was rapping in like a outrageous French accent, and he was like the only one that was hard for me to follow. Everybody else was, I felt like it was fine. I could understand exactly what was going on, and there were times when it was funny, there were times when it was sad, there were times when you wanted to laugh, times you wanted to cry. The drama was amazing. They did an excellent job. I had one friend of mine who, he's very conservative, staunch Republican, and I told him I was going, and he just goes, I can't believe you even want to see that, because, there's, it's just a bunch of liberals trying to push a liberal agenda or some crap like that. And he's like, and I was just like, well, I'm going to go see it because I'm not a racist. So, and so, anyway, I didn't get any sense of like a liberal, like political undertone to it. Like sometimes you watch movies or you go to plays and you can tell like there's a political message in there, and there wasn't really. It was telling a historical story in a different perspective, and I thought it was really well done. And like I said, I mean, there were a lot of things I didn't know about Alexander Hamilton that I thought was really interesting, and I would recommend anyone go and see it if they get a chance. So.
I haven't seen it. I've heard a few songs. I bought the CDs because it was on. That's how I listen to my music. I bought them on because they were on sale, really good sale at Barnes and Noble, and I picked them up. And the girl that I bought them from, she was pretty cute, and I was talking to her about it just for a second. Then she told me what song to listen to because I told her I'd never heard it before, and I listened to her, and I liked the song. But
which one?
Wait for it, or it's something's coming, or something like that.
Wait for it. That's one.
That's it then. Anyway, Wait for it. That was her.
There's one that was something uptown that was the most powerful in my opinion. But you have to see it in context of the play.
Right, and that's the thing. I was like, I heard it. But that's the thing, that rapping thing isn't my favorite. So I'm going to go give it a chance when I have a chance to go see it. It's come to Salt Lake a few times. It's just really hard to get tickets. But I want to, just because I love theater. Apparently this is one you got to see. But one of my favorites is still 1776. And girl I was dating a few years ago, I introduced her to 1776, and then she went and saw Hamilton, and she told me that this was going to be my new favorite thing. Pieces I've heard, and I'm not a huge Lin-Manuel fan, but it's okay, but I don't think anything could beat 1776. And you probably never even heard of 1776.
I have heard of 1776, and I've actually seen the movie 1776.
Are you serious?
Yes,
with William Daniels?
I've seen it more than once.
I'll never remember what you say because I don't really care.
Yeah, well, I can tell you that I've seen it, and that was fine, but Hamilton is good, and I think one thing that's good about it, too, is that I felt like there was a lot more character development in Alexander Hamilton. Like, there was a lot more focus on, it was more character-driven, whereas 1776 seemed more driven by the Constitution and writing it. You know what I mean?
Declaration of Independence.
The Declaration of Independence.
However, I would say if you're looking at the character, there's a lot of brilliant things about the character that I could totally dive into that, but I'm not going to right now. I love that movie. I love the play. I've seen the play several times. It's my favorite. I'm not going to say it's my favorite musical, but it's an amazing one. I'm not going to get into it right now, but we should definitely discuss that at another time.
So another thing that was really funny was that, like, we were sitting there waiting for the play to start, and I hear this person behind us, and the person behind us was like talking to their friend or whatever, whoever they were with, and they go, "So wait, is this based on a true story?" I want to turn around and be like, "Seriously?" You know? So anyway,
that'd be more funny if it was at 1776. That's a great film, and you probably didn't even see the extended version. There's like so many versions of that movie. But the thing is with you, and this isn't a criticism, it's just an observation from recommendations we've made to, you know, things like Zorro the Gay Blade and stuff. There's a lot of that like subtle humor that I love that isn't totally your bag, and that's fine. I get. I'm not saying like I'm more advanced have a, you know, more intelligent sense of humor or anything like that. It's just I can watch there's a horribly slow movie watching 1776, but I can pull out and wait for those awesome, hilarious moments, and they're everything. And they make the movie great as well as the music. Hamilton, from what I've observed, is just fast and upbeat, and it's just all this energy and all this, and it has this appearance of a propaganda. I'm glad you don't feel that it does have one, but.
No, I don't think it had any propaganda. I think it was just telling the story, and it just happened to be all African-American cast.
Right.
You know, so.
And I have a guy in my ward who has thoughts about that, but we'll save that for another discussion. When they come out with Hamilton in the theater, in the movie, then we'll talk about that. But anyway, did you watch anything else awesome this week?
I mean, I rewatched Rocky again. That was fantastic.
Which one? One?
First one, yeah. And
how about slow pacing?
I hate you so much. I don't even know why I do this anymore. And let's see. Yeah, you know, I kind of have a life, so I don't really watch movies all the time. I'm just kidding. Wait, you watched one movie I recommended. Did you watch it?
No, I went out with the Missionaries tonight.
Oh my goodness. You're gonna put it on the Missionaries, are you? Okay.
Yeah. Are you going through Rocky?
So righteous.
Yeah. All I do is go out with Missionaries and watch movies. I'm going to the Celestial Kingdom. But are you going to go through the Rocky movies right now, or you just watch the first one randomly?
I just watched the first one randomly.
Okay. I was going to say, when you get to the second one, I want you to pay attention to the fight scene. Next time we spend time together, I want to watch the Rocky fight in the second movie, because last time I watched it, getting ready for Creed 2, I was blown away with how incredible the editing and the sound design and the cinematography of that fight is just so good. The way it cuts and bleeds, the audio blurring with the narrator, and they go round and round, and everything about it. I was just so impressed when I was actually watching that. We'll talk about that another time though. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching a lot of TV recently. Like, new shows are coming out, and so I'm catching up on some. And there's the show that I think that you should watch. I think that you'd like, and I think a lot of people here would like. It's on. I think it's on CBS. It's called God Friended Me. Have you ever heard of it? So my oldest daughter Piper and I like watching it. We've kind of made it a father-daughter thing, and it's this story about a guy who's an atheist whose dad is a minister, and his sister is homosexual, and he became atheist because his mother died in a car accident, and so he just did stop believing in God. And he has a podcast, he calls it the Millennial Prophet, where he talks about being atheist and losing his faith and things like that. And then all of a sudden he gets a Facebook friend request from God, and they call it the God account. And what happens is he friends this account, and then the account makes friend suggestions. And when he finds these they're people he runs into in the streets in New York, and when he makes these friend suggestions, he has to help them with something in their lives. And so the whole series follows him and his group of friends who are trying to figure this out, and his podcast and his family. In the meantime, while he's helping all these people out, like,
it actually is Facebook though.
It's a Facebook friend request.
That's fun.
And the thing is at the same time, you're also trying to figure out, is this really God, or is it like is somebody behind it? Like, who's behind it? Right. What's going on? How do we figure this out? Type thing. So anyway, it's a really, I think it's a feel good story. It's interesting about, it's a good story in my mind about faith and dealing with faith issues within families, which I think is good. It also talks about, it's very wholesome. Like, there's no cussing or anything like that. There's no like sex in it or anything.
Right.
Something that you should be comfortable with your family watching. And like I said, my daughter and I, it's on its second season now, and we really like watching it. We watch it every week. So
it sounds like a Facebook promotional show. It's just like how I heard that Tinder is going to have its own. It's going to have either a movie or a series or something. It's going to be or streaming. I don't remember what it was, but it's going to have some kind of a sort of a choose your own adventure kind of a thing. Not an app. I mean, it's going to be something. I don't know. It seemed really confusing when I heard people explaining what the concept was, but it sounds like a Facebook. How every form of social media has to get into the streaming game and put out something. That's what that sounds like to me.
Well, like I said, I mean, it's a good show. Give it a
shot.
No,
I wasn't knocking it. I'm just like, it's just kind of amusing.
Yeah, I would say like if you can get online and go on CBS's website and stream like the first couple episodes and see what you think. I don't think it's a particularly super popular show, but I think it's a good one. It's good enough that they gave it a second season. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Well, let me tell you what I just discovered. I just remember one other thing. I was watching the first 2 episodes tonight. I was popping on Netflix, and I go on Netflix very often because I've been watching Roseanne on Amazon Prime. But have you seen the previews for this new show with Paul Rudd? What's it called? Living with Yourself, where he has like a clone.
No.
Have you seen this? You need to check it out because I want to talk about it. It's got 8 episodes. I think it was just bombed out within the last couple of weeks because it's showing trending. What's that?
It's on Netflix?
Yeah, it's on Netflix. It's a Netflix original. And I'll just tell you let me tell you the premise of the first episode. Not spoiling the whole series because I don't know where it goes from here. I'm like really intrigued, but it's like a dark comedy. It's kind of got some kind of messed up concepts, but it's a comedy. It's like totally Paul Rudd style not the stoner Paul Rudd, but the Ant-Man Paul Rudd style.
Okay.
But he, so I guess he's this miserable, unhappy person. It's basically multiplicity with just the cutoff on one clone, but it dives way deep into that. But you have
Multiplicity.
Huh?
Is Multiplicity the one with Michael Keaton?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that movie.
But they blow right past. They focus more on the family or the marriage problems and all that stuff, and blow right past the actual, consequences of having a clone and figuring out the logistics of how are you going to live and everything, how that reaction really happened. So it spent a little more time on that part. From what I mean, it's 8 episodes on the first season. It just came out, and this is as far as I got was 2 episodes. But the first episode, he's this unhappy, miserable person. He has a corporate job and everything, and he gets referred by his friend, a co-worker, to go to this spa. He goes to this spa. It's really weird. Tom Brady comes out, and he's just all happy and beaming and everything. He's like, well, that's weird. He gets his limo and takes off. And he goes in, talks to these 2 Korean guys, and these Korean guys just tell him basically it's $50,000 for the treatment. And he has to, or what it does is it takes all the defects in your DNA, your everything that makes you unhappy, your personality, your attitude, your behavior, your defects and physical issues that you have, and it removes. They don't say clone, but it says they remove and fix all that for you. And again, spoiling the first episode, he agrees with it, pays them the money, they knock him out, and there's some kind of a problem with the gas while they're trying to knock him out. All of a sudden, he wakes up in the forest in a plastic bag where he was shrink wrapped and buried alive, and he's naked, and he finds his way for 6 hours to go back home to discover another Paul Rudd in his home. So basically, what happened was, again, this is just the first episode, but what happens is, what's that?
No, I'm not going to watch it. You ruined the whole thing for me.
Yeah. But no, basically what happened is pretty obvious, and this all comes out of the trailer too. I watched the trailer. But basically, when they clone him, their plan was that what they do is they clone someone and perfect the person, and they kill the old person and send the new guy up like, oh, you're fixed. But really, it's a new guy, and he doesn't know. But there was a problem with the gas where Paul Rudd didn't die. That's why he woke up, and now they know about each other, and so now it's this fun, wacky story of what do they do. And it's just really funny. It's not like a nonstop laughing thing. It's kind of got a serious tone to it, but it's really good. It's the way they do him talking to himself and interacting and fighting with himself and stuff. It's really good, really well done timing. Him in a car having a conversation with himself, and the timing is perfect. It's just amazing. That's the premise of the show. I don't know where the show goes, but I am absolutely intrigued. I'll be watching another 3 episodes tonight. I watched the first 2, but waiting for you tonight. But it's called Living with Yourself, and they're down to what do we do? Do I stay here? Which is the real me? And they have totally different personalities, because one of them is like happy and normal and healthy. He doesn't need glasses. The other one is like just same pissed off, unhappy Paul Rudd. So it's just really good performance too. But I recommend it. It's 8 episodes. I think you should watch it this week so we can talk about it next week.
Yeah, see.
That's your homework. All right. Anything else? Personal study over?
I'll do that as soon as you watch Over the Top.
Okay, I'll watch Over the Top for next time. That'll be my confessional episode or feature. All right, I want to talk about a couple remakes that they're doing. So this is our news and rumors of news, movie news and rumors of news. That's my new feature. I like it. You like it? Don't care, because I like it. So a few remakes. Some of these are going back within the last month or so with announcements, but we haven't had a chance to talk about them. First of all, with Star Wars Episode 9 coming out, this isn't a remake, but several theaters are going to be busting out doing a marathon, watching all 9 movies as the new one comes out. I'm just curious, how do you feel about those kind of things?
That's insanity.
Insanity?
Well, no, I understand. Like, I've done that too. Like, when Creed 2 came out, I watched all of the Rockies and Creed 1 before it came out. But I did it over the course of like 3 weeks.
Right.
I didn't sit there all day and watch all of them and then go watch it. I mean, like, I could get that if you were watching, say, like 7, 8, and 9. Maybe you want to do that. But, like, who has time to sit there for 9 movies?
A day and a half, yeah.
I mean, that's insane.
AMC is doing it, Megaplex is doing it, and here Megaplex, their promotion they're doing is it's $100, and that includes unlimited refills on your drinks and popcorn, and you also get like a blanket and a pin and just some other things, and you can pay another $30 or something like that, and you can they'll feed you 3 meals for that, whatever that consists of. But
$100 and we'll give you all the unlimited popcorn and drinks you want, and we'll also give you a pee bucket so you don't have to leave.
So you don't have to
watch it. It's like, oh my goodness. I'll tell you what though, $100 you get unlimited popcorn and drink. That might be worth it just to do that.
Yeah, just like 2 drinks. Yeah.
Movie theater popcorn is like
$30.
I love it. I'll pay it every single time because I love that stuff.
That's murder for me. The thing is, though, so I know when Endgame came out, a lot of theaters were doing that same thing where you watch it was like 48 hours or something to watch all of the MCU movies, including Endgame, opening night.
But who?
I watched some podcasters and stuff that did it, and you got a little pin or something for getting through. I don't think it led up to the actual opening of the movie, but it was something that people did, and to me that's crazy. That's a lot of movie. I think I could handle Star Wars. This one I'm considering it. I really am. Especially when I find someone that would do it with me.
Is this going to include? So this is not going to include like Solo and
no, just the saga. Yep.
Well, then that doesn't even really count.
Why?
Because you're not going to watch
episode 1 through 9.
Episode 3.5 or whatever that one that came out. And
One?
Yeah, you're not going to watch Rogue One or Solo?
Yeah. That's more like 3.9 because it's closer to 4. But no, that's part of the Death Star rebellion story. That's not necessarily the Skywalker saga story at all.
But still, it's part of the story.
I know it's part of the story.
That's not even. If you go and do that, that's like weak sauce. You got to do all 11.
Oh, whatever.
Hey, I'm just saying, if you're a true fan, you'll do all 11.
Well, if you're a true fan, you'll sit in a theater and discipline yourself to get all the way through. I'll sit at my home theater at my convenience for 3 weeks because I'm a true fan. Shut it.
Hey,
I don't know. I'm thinking about it. I did watch when Lord of the Rings was coming out. Before the 3rd movie, my friends Lance and a couple other friends. Was Lance there? Yeah, Lance was there. It's funny stories about that I won't tell right now. But we went to the extended. They watched not the theatrical version, but the extended version of the 1st and 2nd movie, going right up into the midnight show of Return of the King, and that was an all-day thing with like an hour in between each movie. That was awesome. That's what 7 hours, 8 hours before you see the real movie.
So that I could maybe like, okay, you know what I mean? It's 3 movies, right? Like,
3 movies that are the same length as 6 Star Wars movies.
yeah, I don't know. It just seems like that's just insanity to me. Like I said, I'll watch. I would do that over the course of time. In fact, I just was talking to my son and I was telling him, I'm like, we really should start watching these Star Wars movies.
Not the same. I agree. I mean, there's nothing. I mean, everyone's going to be doing that before they see the new movies, new Star Wars. Everyone talks about that. But if you watch like episode 1, like a month before the new one comes out, and then the next few days later you watch the next one, and then a few days later you watch the next one. By the time you get to the 3rd one, it's not all like one big impact. It's kind of like, remember on the mission when we were required to read through the Book of Mormon in 15 days. Were you there for that?
No.
And even right before you got there.
Good.
Reading the Book of Mormon in 15 days is insane, and but it's such a different read through and a different experience, because the things that happen at the beginning of the book are so fresh on your mind. When you get to the end of the book, there's a lot more context for a lot of stuff that means a lot more. It's not more, but it's just different. Same thing here. If I watch episode 1 the same morning that I'm going to watch episode 9, I'm going to remember and have some things about Palpatine or whatever on my mind going into it that if I watched it 3 weeks ago, it wouldn't be the same. But I'm just putting that out there, and I'm not saying you have to go do this. I'm not promoting this event. I'm just saying it's kind of cool.
Well, and I'm just putting it out there that people who do that are weird. That's all.
And have no life when I could be watching Hamilton. All right, just real quick, let's talk about some of these remakes that are going on. So first of all, HBO Max announced a little bit ago that they're going to be doing a Mr. I Love Musicals. They're doing a Grease series. Did you hear about that?
No. Well, I mean, I don't know. Actually, HBO might be able to pull that off.
Well, I don't know which side of HBO Max it is, because it's going to be called Rydell High. Now, the thing about this that I'm intrigued by is it's going to take place in the 50s. It's going to have all new songs, and it's going to have, I don't know if they're cameos or just small bits, but pieces from the original characters. Now, a lot of those cast members have died, or they're too old to reprise to be the same. If it took place, you can't have like what's his name? John Travolta pop in as Danny, because if this is taking place in the 50s, Danny aged, 40 years. You know what I mean? You can't just have him show up like that. So I think you're going to see characters, but not actors, unless they come in as cameos for other characters. I don't know. Not a lot's been released, but the description was it's going to be just going to focus on peer pressures of high school, the horror of puberty, and life in middle America with a modern sensibility.
Nope.
Taking place in the 50s, I'm kind of intrigued by this, not to mention all the music.
Yeah, no, I'm not sold on it, but who knows? Maybe it'll come out and be amazing.
Did you like Grease?
Yeah.
You just talked about that last week, didn't you? How you had didn't you talk about that?
Yeah, how I
took a first date to Greece or to the special edition or something like that, and it was
it came out in the 90s, like 97, I think it was.
Yeah.
And yeah, I took a girl. She wanted to go see Grease, and I was like, all right, yeah, let's do it. And I'd never seen it. In fact, I think that's how it came up. We were at a pool hall, and we were listening to something, and a song from Grease came on the jukebox. Mm-hmm. And she's like, oh, this is from Grease. And I was like, I've never seen it. And she's like, you never seen it? Stop what we're doing right now. We're going to see it right now. And I was like, oh, all right. So we went and saw it, and I enjoyed it. Yeah. Okay, Mr. I Love Musicals. How many times have you seen it? Oh, probably like 4 or 5 times now. 4 or 5 times? Yeah. Okay, I guess for you that's passable. I've seen Grease. I mean, when I say that, I mean, that's 4 or 5 times I've watched it like in a group of people or like on a DVD. And then there's times where like I'll be flipping through on TV, and it'll be on, and I'll watch, a song and then be done. Yeah, I'll watch a song or two. Okay, what's your favorite song, Hotshot? Let me test you. I like the Summer Lovin' song. I don't know the name. Summer Nights, is that what it's called? Summer Lovin'. It's called Summer Lovin'. Yeah. What's your second favorite song? Grease Lightning. Well, that one's obvious. Even though that's such a filthy song. When that came out on the 25th anniversary or whatever it was in the 90s that you're talking about, we bought the Rydell. No, that was the DVD. It came out later. But we bought it, and it came with the VHS. Yeah,
came with the book that had the all the lyrics of the songs, and I watched it reading the lyrics because I'm really bad with hearing lyrics in music, and it went through the Grease Lightning song, and I could not believe how filthy that song is. I was like, I've been watching this since I was a kid. I never picked up a lot of those words that I'm not going to repeat right now, but all right, that's fine. That passes. I'm excited about this. I think it's just because it takes place if it took place in like Rydell High, like currently, I wouldn't really care. But being back in the 50s, I want to see what they come up with. Unless they do what the movie did and they focus and spend a lot of time at the dance. When I bought the CDs, I have the 2-disc CD. The first one is most of the songs from the cast. The second CD is all of the crap that they're playing, that cover band is playing at the band, like Elvis and all that stuff. Is it Elvis? I think there's Elvis. I can't remember. Like Blue Moon and all that crap. I hate that music. I hate it. I love 50s and 60s music, but not that stuff that's in that movie. So if this has any of that stuff to keep the flavor of the 50s, I am out. That's all I want to say about that. Anything else you want to say about that? Don't care.
Nope.
At the same time, Disney Plus is doing High School Musical, the musical series, something like that. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I never saw High School Musical, so I don't really care.
That was after us. I've seen the first 2 movies. I like the music. No, I don't like the music. I like the music in the second one. But I don't remember if I mentioned on the show a couple weeks ago, I was able to go visit the set of a film they're filming called The Witnesses, about the 8 and 3 witnesses.
You keep throwing that out there, just trying to, say, oh yeah, I went and visited a movie set.
Yeah, I just went and checked out this awesome movie set. Anyway, while I was there, one of the
girls with the actors, might get a speaking part.
Yeah, no. They're a rap right now. Anyway, one of the girls there was she did the hair the hair and makeup for the High School Musical, the movie, the series, whatever that they're filming here in Sully, because that's where the first one was filmed. I don't know if you knew that. At the school, and she was talking to me about kind of the approach and the music and stuff, and that's what I loved about it, was what they did was such a big cast, a big group of people, like in the student body, getting into a big choreographed number. That was kind of cool. So if they do some of that stuff, I'll watch it for that. Kind of like Glee. I watched the first couple of seasons of Glee, and then I went back and I only watched the songs because I did not care about the story. Did you ever watch Glee, or were you too cool for that?
I was too cool for that.
I'm sure. Okay, so there's that. Ghostbusters 2020 is done shooting, and they've already booked and talked about a lot of the cameos are going to, the original actors coming back, everyone, but
is this in the universe of the women, or is this back?
As I understand, no. As I understand, it's not. Starring Paul Rudd, but as I understand, it's not with the girl version, the 2012, whatever it was.
I think that was not as bad as it made it sound. So.
No, it's clarification, because that one clearly didn't take place in the same universe as the original. So the question is, does this one take place in the same universe as the original? I don't know, but I know it doesn't take place in that universe. But what do you feel about that? Because we're talking about remakes, and everyone throws their hands up in the air whenever they talk about remakes, but this sounds like a good take. And as soon as people heard the name Paul Rudd, everyone exhaled.
Yeah, I think it just matters on who you put in there. You know what I mean? That's really it. I mean, if you just put a bunch of no-namers, and it could be there could be a number of different people that could do it. You could get a good director and it could be great. I mean, I think Paul Rudd is a good start. We'll see who else they put in there, but I'm not necessarily completely opposed to it as I am with The Princess Bride.
Why? So what's the difference? What if I said Paul Rudd's going to play Wesley? That'd be awful. But what if I said, I don't know, Chris Hemsworth is going to play Kurt Russell or Wesley? Because I started thinking about this when I threw out my that Three Amigos thing that people were talking about. I was like, why is it okay because Chris Evans or Chris Hemsworth threw out a comment that he was like, I would remake Three Amigos. It was just a random thought he had, and everyone's like, oh, that'd be so awesome. He's going to try and bring the Marvel buddies back. Why is that okay? But if Chris Hemsworth was going to play Wesley, Chris Evans, I think Chris Evans play Wesley, Robert Downey Jr. playing Prince Humperdinck, things like that'd be freaking just as fun, having these great actors with that great chemistry, all colorful, coming together again. Why is that different? Why is The Princess Bride just the untouchable?
Because it's a perfect movie.
Who cares? Just because it's perfect doesn't mean it can't be touched.
It can. It does mean that.
Why?
No, you can't do it any better. Why even try?
What you're saying? No one should make a. I was about to say a Rocky. Should Rocky just stop making Rocky movies because we have your favorite, the first one? So it's like, don't ever touch it.
If it's equal, I'd be fine with it. It's a remake.
So what? How come that can't be done? How do you know it couldn't be done? What if you had you just said, what if you have the right actors, the right vision, the right director? How come that can't be done with
sure. Princess Bride, you can't get any better.
I disagree. And I love The Princess Bride. I don't think it's a perfect movie.
You're wrong.
I think it's perfect for what it is, but I'm saying that story isn't an untouchable story.
It is. So
if you tried to take that movie and recreate to make it the same fun and the same type of characters, had Miracle Max be the same kind of quirkiness and stuff, no, don't do that. Don't touch it that way. Just like Ghostbusters, if you have the same 4 characters who are trying to play the exact same type of characters as Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray and stuff, don't touch it. But I'm saying that you can take a premise and you can do a remake and change it up to have your vision and your take on it and make it better. Or not better. It's not about making it better, but making something new. You have Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and then you have Robin Hood, Men in Tights. Those are totally different movies, but should Men in Tights have never been made because Prince of Thieves was already made, or vice versa?
No,
or Russell Crowe shouldn't have been Robin Hood just because I love the Prince of Thieves. They're totally different movies with great visions.
No, I think you're right.
What?
I think you're right. It should have never been made.
Right. I thought you were saying I was right. Yeah, I should have known that wasn't the case. All right. Well, anyway, it's done. So you don't care about Ghostbusters. Don't you think Ghostbusters, the original, was a perfect movie?
I don't know if it's perfect, but it's definitely a great movie, and I love it. But I think...
What's wrong with it?
It's one of those movies...
It's lightning in a ball. You'd never be able to do that again.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think with the right actors, you could do it again, and it'd be funny. I thought the actors who they chose for the women's one was actually really good. So, I'm not necessarily opposed to another Ghostbusters.
I don't think that Princess Bride is any more perfect for what it was as Ghostbusters is.
Well, we all know that you're wrong on everything. So.
Well, okay. All right.
So now let's get
Robert,
number 8. I'm fading.
Whatever. Is remaking Pinocchio. He's in talks to do it. How do you feel about a remake of Pinocchio?
Who's making it?
Robert Zemeckis. What's his name?
Robert Zemeckis?
Yeah. No. Yes.
Pinocchio.
It's creepy.
Is it a Disney remake?
Yeah. So he did Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Polar Express, Forrest Gump, your favorite, the Back to the Future trilogy, and Castaway. He can do drama and stuff.
I don't necessarily hate that.
I think that's a good idea. Even though I don't want to see it because I think Pinocchio is a horrible story it's all about kidnapping and it's scary, scary, scary stuff. I'm kind of worried about it. How about a Barney remake or reboot?
Oh my gosh, no.
Yeah, that's in talks right now. They're trying to decide, and they're looking at directors, but they're trying to decide if the whole I love you, you love me thing can come to life. Now, my thought about that is I think they're trying to capitalize on how excited everyone has become about Mr. Rogers lately. Between the what's it called? Won't You Be My Neighbor documentary and now the new movie with Tom Hanks. I think that's what they're trying to see what other childhood stories can we bring to life with a new premise or to get some new attention. That's my theory. I don't give a crap about Barney. That was after our time, but whatever. All right. Well, moving on to our top 7 list tonight. I announced earlier that we had the announcement. I meant this came out last week with the announcement of the full lineup of what's going to come out on Disney Plus opening day, which means more stuff will be coming out later. We know they've announced a lot of Marvel series and stuff that aren't in the list.
Let me just throw this out there right now and say I've looked at the list. What else is there? Like,
I
so much.
have a list. I actually made a list of things that I want on there that aren't on there. I'll tell you in a second.
It's gonna be ridiculous stuff. But I was reading to my kids all of the different things, and I got through the list of just the live action stuff, and I was like, we aren't even to the cartoons yet. You know? They're like, oh my goodness, there's so much stuff. So anyway.
Yeah, so it does. It feels so complete. It's absolutely amazing. And I was like, I don't need Netflix after this. There's a few things I'm gonna watch on Netflix, but
I actually looked at this and I thought to myself, because I posted, on Instagram, I finally finished the theater, the movie theater that I've been building since I moved into this house. And, part of that is my vast, I have a large video, movie collection, like library. And I looked at this list and I was like, I don't even know why I bought all those movies, because they're like all of them, they're all there. And I mean, anyway, so yeah.
Right. And they're gonna be like clean and HD and all remade and all that stuff, I'm sure, a lot of them. So we wanted to do, I was just so excited about this. I went to work and I was just reading through this list. I had like 500 plus things on it. I was just like telling everyone, like, and it has this and this, and we were just so excited. I saw my mom today and I was showing her the list, and she was like just going through all those old live action movies, and she was just like, wow, this is this one and this is this one, things I don't even remember. But I suggested I wanted to make our top 7 list. This isn't exact like in order for me. I didn't put it in exact order of which priority they're going to be, but the top 7 things that I'm most excited about watching when this comes out, or the first thing I'm going to watch or whatever. But first of all, I just want to say on my list, I took out obviously those future Marvel things and, obvious things like The Simpsons. If that's on your list, that's fine, but I didn't have it on mine. But that's awesome. And the Mandalorian series, of course, I'm most excited about that. That's the first thing I'm going to watch is the Mandalorian Star Wars sequel they're doing.
I agree.
But I just put some other out of the left field things that I saw. I was like, that just stood out to me that I'm excited. Do you want to do your list first or me first?
You go first.
All right. So absolutely in no order whatsoever. The Freaky Friday, the 1977 version, the old one.
Interesting. Okay.
Not the new one. I love that movie, and I am so anti Lindsay Lohan because her entire career was built up on remakes of these Disney classics that people forgot about, Freaky Friday and the Herbie and all those stupid Parent Trap. Those movies were fantastic, and everyone forgot about Haley Mills and some of these other great actresses or actors in those films back when they had to do that stuff practically for all these remakes with Lindsay Lohan. I hate Lindsay Lohan. I never cared about her career. But Freaky Friday was awesome. It's a mom and daughter switch. So great. They've redone that premise lately in movies. I was like, this was done originally back in 77. No one remembers it, and I can't find it anywhere. I'm excited to go back and watch that. The Return to Oz. Did you ever watch The Return to Oz?
Yes, and I looked at that.
Yeah.
And I read that out, and I go, wait a minute. That weird sequel to Wizard of Oz where Dorothy's actually younger than she is in the Wizard of Oz?
It's not a sequel to the movie.
It's weird.
It's weird, but it's creepy.
Anybody out there who hasn't watched it, I'm just telling you, it's freaking weird.
Yeah. It is. The original Wizard of Oz is not a Disney movie, and this isn't a sequel to the movie. It's a sequel to the book, and it's the next story. This is the actual story, but 1985, the Return to Oz. It's creepy. It's scary. The opening stuff going on with Dorothy, how she gets to I almost said Wonderland, to Oz. It's weird. It's weird, dark stuff. I don't fully remember it. You have Jack, not the creepy Jack, not the skeleton, not Scarecrow. Just newer characters, just weird stuff, scary stuff. I don't even remember all of it, but I'm excited about reliving that nightmare. One Magic Christmas. Have you ever seen that movie? Do you even know what that is?
No.
One Magic Christmas is the greatest Christmas, but one of the greatest. It's in my favorites. It's not out on Blu-ray and stuff. I haven't been able to find it if it is. I've never researched it to look at it or look for it, but it has the lady that plays the school teacher, the high-pitched girl in Back to the Future 3 that used to be in all those movies back in the 80s. her husband dies in the beginning of the movie. He was in a bank, and the bank got robbed, and he got shot and killed. She doesn't believe in Santa Claus. She doesn't believe in Christmas. And the whole movie is her being watched over by this angel who is trying to help her rediscover the spirit of Christmas and all that stuff, and to have faith again. And her children are being watched over by this cowboy angel, trying to help her learn about all that stuff and have faith again for the magic of Christmas to take hold in her heart and to, I'm just going to say, affect her. But I'm not going to say what happens in the movie, but because it'll be available for everyone. But One Magic Christmas is touching. It's an older movie. It's 85. No, I think it's around that time. But it's a movie that it's emotional. It's really emotional and touching. It makes you think about a lot of different things about family and your values, your priorities, and things like that. And she just can't deal with the loss of her husband. And she's just such a closed off person with Christmas, and she's so anti-Christmas. It's just such a good story. You're gonna have to watch it. I'm gonna challenge you to do it this Christmas season, but it's really good. I haven't been able to find it anywhere. Can't believe it's coming. This next one, I'm cheating. This is a 1980s lineup. It's just a few of the animations that came out in the 80s. A lot of these were forgotten. That little pocket of the 80s cartoon.
Wait a minute. Are you using one of your numbers for multiple cartoons?
Yeah. That
doesn't count.
Stop. It's my list. It's my list. I said top 7 things you're excited about, not specific names.
All right. Number 1, all the live action movies. Number 2.
Anyway, you shut up.
Originals.
Can I say my 3 movies?
Go ahead and say your 3 movies that aren't 1, but okay.
Okay. The 1980s lineup. This isn't like 20 movies. It's like 4. So I don't care about The Fox and the Hound, even though that was in there. But Black Cauldron, The Great Mouse Detective, and Oliver and Company. That's a small little pocket of films that no one cares about, no one remembers, and no one ever appreciates. Those 3 movies are fantastic, especially Black Cauldron. But Great Mouse Detective is one of the best Disney cartoons ever. That's a fantastic, entertaining, a little bit dark, good movie about kidnapping too. Anyway, so I just put that in there. 90s, and there, that's after the Renaissance came in for Disney, but 80s was a fun little pocket there.
Very worried about your fascination with kidnapping. But anyway.
I hate it. That's why I don't want to see Pinocchio. It's horrible. Right. I don't want to see it. It's scary. That was my biggest fear as a kid. But Great Mouse Detective, it's not kidnapping, it's a hostage, because her dad or uncle, whoever it is, he's the hostage. She's with Sherlock Holmes, the Great Mouse Detective.
Well, I just can't.
He's safe. It's not kidnapping.
I just can't wait to hear the rest of your top 9 list.
So. DuckTales. DuckTales is awesome. Tailspin's great, but DuckTales that's what I watched as a kid. That one was a lot funner. A lot of people love Tailspin. I like it, but DuckTales was more exciting for me. Number 6/8, Gummy Bears.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so excited about Gummy Bears, mostly because I don't know if it's as good as I remember it, and I just remember the song, a couple of the looks of the characters, but I can't remember the stories or anything. Right. I couldn't remember any specific episodes other than I loved when that was on, because it was a medieval show, and I loved anything medieval, like the Smurfs. So I'm excited to see that. I'll probably watch like 2 episodes and be like, hey, this is boring. But I'm excited, and I'm going to report back on that if it's as good. All right, and the last one, 2015, the Muppets series. I never saw this. I heard about it after the Muppet movies tried to have their little revival. Yeah, reemergence in the 2000 plus 10s or whatever. Those 2000s. And they came out, and they were awesome, especially the one with Jason Segel. I love that one. But after that, 2015, they had a series that was like their real lives. It was like a reality show or something. And I never saw a single episode of it. I heard about it, but I didn't have whatever it was on. And I was just so intrigued because my favorite concept about the Muppets is their domestic lives. My favorite movies are when it's just them living, and like in the Jason Segel movie where they have their own lives, their own jobs, and they just wrap up and they come together to put on the show. That's the cool concept, is these aren't characters that we're watching like Sesame Street. This is them in the real world doing a show, like they're in show business. I love that. And Muppets from Space, where they all live in a house or the hotel in the Great Muppet Caper. I love it. I just love that concept. And this is like their individual stories with their own dynamics and relationships and everything. Never got to see it. It's modern. It's updated. It was supposed to be really good. I can't wait to watch it. Finally, the Muppet series 2015. Okay, go, you jerk.
All right, so first I have to start with the honorable mention.
Okay.
This one didn't make the list, but it was really close. I'm really excited when I saw Three Men and a Baby on there, because one, I didn't know that was even a Disney movie, or like maybe it's a Fox movie.
It's Touchstone. I think that's Touchstone. Disney owned Touchstone for all those years.
So
that's how you have like Roger Rabbit and all those things.
Yeah, so I liked that movie. And it just was exciting because it's like, oh, there's going to be stuff on there that I didn't even know was Disney, which is going to be exciting. So that's why I mention. Now, obviously, The Mandalorian is a big one. I'm excited to see that because it's going to be Star Wars quality shows. So really excited.
Really good.
Oh, another honorable mention. Did you see that they're going to release a Lady and the Tramp live action?
Yes.
Which I'm excited about seeing, but the fact that they're doing it on the net on Disney Plus rather than in the theaters tells me that maybe it's not that good.
Yeah. So, I'm not a dog guy. That's why I didn't really care about that. If they showed the trailer is what came out at the D23 convention, and everyone was talking about it. It was kind of creepy, and they were talking about how the dogs were like live dogs or something, and out of work dogs or something. It was just a lot of funny things going on behind the scenes. But yeah, that's not my favorite story. Even though one of my top 10 villains of all Disney villains is in that movie, and that's the Rat.
Okay.
Anyway,
so back to my list. Mandalorian, number 1. Number 2, another one, DuckTales. Huge. That was my favorite one.
More than Tailspin for you too?
Yeah, more than Tailspin by a long shot. Rescue Rangers. In fact,
Rescue Rangers.
Rescue Rangers is a second to DuckTales, and it's still better than Tailspin in my mind. Wow. So DuckTales was a big one for me, and I'm really excited to watch all the episodes with my kids.
How long has it been since you've watched anything from DuckTales?
So I actually bought the DVD sets. I have like 4 volumes of them, and we have occasionally watched them. Also on that, they have the DuckTales movie, the Lost Lamp.
The Lost Tramp.
Or the Lost Lamp.
Yeah.
And that movie was great. I loved it. I watched it a billion times when I was
I love that movie.
Yeah. The next thing, the Black Cauldron. I like the Black Cauldron because I feel like that movie is like the lost Disney cartoon. Like very, very few times does it ever get played. It doesn't get put into the like every 7 years release of new movies whenever they come out.
The vault doesn't the vault.
It doesn't come out of the vault like ever. It's a great movie. It's really dark, which I thought was really cool, and really exciting about that. So I'm excited about that. Oliver and Company. That was one that I watched in the theater and loved, and then for whatever reason, it didn't come out on VHS for like years.
Yeah, I remember that.
Because I remember going to the theater and being like, I really like that, and then it didn't come out for years. So when it finally did, I was all excited and we got it, and then I lost it. I don't know what happened. It's another one that doesn't come out of the vault like ever.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's in my 1980s pocket that no one cares about it.
Right. The difference is I actually used them in the top 7.
Yeah. Hey, pop quiz. Who sang the songs in Oliver and Company?
Billy Joel.
Yeah. All right. So that was Billy Joel for anyone that didn't hear that. Okay.
The next one for me, a Goofy movie, because I love a Goofy movie. I love Powerline.
Of course you love Powerline.
So I am very excited because for some reason, I don't know quite why, but like I've tried to get a Goofy movie on Blu-ray, and I don't think it's ever come out on Blu-ray.
I have it on. That's one of the first things I got after my divorce. I was like, I need to replace Anastasia and Goofy movie and a couple of others.
Yeah, so that's one that I don't own, and I wanted to show my kids because I'm like, this movie is great. You don't understand.
So you've never seen it?
They've never seen it.
Yeah. What's the funniest part of that movie? I know the answer, but what is the best part? I think like 3 movies. We need to review this when it comes out.
I love the whole Pauly Shore guy too. The guy.
Yeah, I was like, that's amazing.
Yeah, that guy is hilarious. Everything about that movie is hilarious.
Oh, the best part's when he's asleep in the car when Bigfoot's outside doing the puppet show and stuff, and they fall asleep. And he changes the map. He's trying to hurry close it, and then Goofy's like waking up, and he looks at him and he's like, "How many cups of sugar does it take to get to the moon?" He's like 3.5. He's like. That movie is timeless. I love it. Anyway.
All right, back to my list.
Wait, one more thing about that. Have you ever seen the live action version of the opening song, the After Today song?
No.
I'm going to send you that clip. It's so awesome. Some guys like redid like the whole sequence. It's awesome. Okay, go ahead.
All right, so the next one, X-Men, the animated series from 1992. Because when I was a kid, I didn't appreciate X-Men. And so I didn't watch it, and so now I'm excited now that I have an appreciation for X-Men to watch it.
Really well done. And I haven't seen it since then, but I remember when it came out. I was really excited about it because that was also around the time that Batman the Animated Series came out. I think Batman came out first, but those both were like groundbreaking for animation, especially for comic book animation. And so, like, they tried Spider-Man over the years and never worked. Superman over the years is nothing really super awesome. But when the X-Men series and Batman came out, those were like just awesome, and they still stand up, especially the music for that one.
Right. Now,
and Rogue was hot. Just saying.
Last one, The Simpsons. All 30 seasons. That is exciting.
Do you still watch The Simpsons?
No. I
don't either. I haven't watched The Simpsons since it was before my mission, but even a little before that, the Who Shot Mr. Burns story, that was the last time I was really up on The Simpsons. And when I left on my mission, came home from my mission, never picked it up. My brother still watches every episode, he said. I asked him about it. Every Sunday, he still watches The Simpsons loyally. Says it's not as good as it used to be, but it's still really good. I'm like, that's a lot of episodes.
Yeah, it's great. So I'm excited. So
and that's another one that members of the church have always, like, back then it was like, oh, this is a bad show. Bart's such a disobedient kid. He's a bad influence. You shouldn't admire him. And there's such a bad family that you shouldn't be enjoying. But I watched a few years ago when my kids were a little bit younger, we started watching the first season and the second season. There's some great stories and great family values and stuff that are presented in those. And even though it's entertaining and ridiculous, it's good stuff about quality time together and the Marge and Homer romances and stuff. It's just freaking awesome. Really good stuff. Really good values to learn in that. So I think everyone should watch an episode for the next 30 years of Family Home Evening.
Exactly.
Okay, here's a few things that are missing real quick that I was looking for. Bear in the Big Blue House. This was after our childhood, but that show was awesome. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, I've seen it.
It's good. It's really cute, and it's not in there. The old black and white Zorro series with Guy Williams. Have you ever seen that?
No.
Okay, well, you would know the song and everything if you heard it, but that was really good. Two of them that were when I was a kid on the Disney Channel, Dumbo Circus and Welcome to Pooh's Corner. I think that was what it was called. Where one was all about Pooh.
Oh, I love Pooh's Corner.
You remember that?
Yeah.
They're all in full costumes, kind of creepy and everything, but they would have little songs and little stories that was kind of repetitive.
Before school, I used to watch Pooh's Corner, and then I used to watch the Alice in Wonderland one.
I remember that.
Live action one that was really good. It really focused on the Mad Hatter, and so it was interesting. Anyway,
I don't remember that. Dumbo Circus was the same time as Pooh's Corner.
Dumbo Circus too.
Yeah, those aren't on there. And Mousercise. Have you ever seen Mousercise?
Yeah, it's like Jazzercise.
Yeah, but it was awesome, and even though it's dated and all really old '80s, it was a lot of fun to hear a lot of those songs that came from those old cartoons and have them together. And you had the characters to come out in costume and dance like Goofy and Donald and stuff with them. It was really cool. And you had that one blonde chick with the really short curly hair. I had a huge crush on her when I was a kid, of course. But it was just kind of cool. I used to watch that, not exercise with it, but just watch it because it was kind of fun and listen to the songs and stuff. But I wish that was on there. That's a sad thing. Anyway, so there's my list of 5 things I was looking for that aren't on there. I'm sad. So not everything But you never know.
Sad that you were looking for Mouse Size, but okay.
Well, I thought of it when I was thinking of my lineup, what I used to listen to, and I was like, oh, I wonder if Mouser Size is on there. It's not. I have the CD for the Mouser Size song. It had its own CD with the exercise version of some of those songs, like from Jungle Book and stuff. Shut up. It's awesome. Anyway, that's our show for the night. Yeah. Sorry, it may have not been the most exciting and engaging, but we got to get a little
exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, anyway, we got to get some resolution on some things. Josh apparently claims to like musicals. I'm going to be challenging him on that in the future. We'll be talking about some of that stuff because we have a lot of musical discussions we've been avoided because the last year we spent a little more time talking about Josh's stupid sports movies than I really wanted to. So, so we'll talk about that because next year is going to be full of a lot of musical stuff, and we're going to hit some of it. All right, next week I'm going to watch, what was it called? The arm wrestling movie.
Over the Top.
I'm going to watch Over the Top, and I'm going to do my first confessional episode on here. We're going to talk about that. And Josh, watch that Paul Rudd show. Let's talk about it. It's going to be good. All right, anyway. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, whatever, if you care about that. And I'll cut out the stuff you might have been more interested in, whatever. I don't care. But thanks to Disney for providing this awesome streaming service coming for only $7.99 a month. I'm very excited. And thanks, Josh, for being here and being so great. It was a very coincidental thing that we both wore black. That was not planned. We just both showed up dressed this way.
Yours is more navy blue. But anyway.
It's not as black. It's just how crappy my camera is. It's black. I didn't even watch it. Okay, well, thanks for watching Saints on Cinema. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.